Alright, so in a strange twist of events, I woke up with 15,000 subscribers this morning, and I'm thinking that there's a lot of people wondering exactly how that happened so quickly, uh, and speculation about me not being who I am, and I don't know, claims that I just came out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere. As if people just come out of nowhere like that. But let me clear that up. So this will be my appreciation or for the 15,000 subscribers slash origin story of D Marvel. Some people from Facebook, my favorite people from Flat Earth Crew, started asking questions about van life. My response to people telling me that I should be embarrassed goes along the lines of, embarrassment is for weak-minded people who are concerned about the opinions of strangers. I personally don't fall under that category. So, I was born in Forest City, Arkansas. I'm youngest of four. My parents got divorced when I was 13. Grew up in the church. We were brought up in North Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm a pretty normal guy. In high school, I wasn't all that popular. I went to North Little Rock High School, Charging Wildcats, representing 501. Grew up on this street in Rose City, Water Street. I didn't have many friends in high school until I started running track, and then bumped into these guys, and had fun running track the last 2 years I was in high school, just getting around, having fun, and mostly to meet the girls, because anyway. While in high school, went to school with some outstanding individuals, some who would go off to do other things. There was one guy, actually my cousin, Stephon Rogers. He went off to play football for the Philadelphia Eagles. We still stay in contact from time to time. I'll call him, he'll call me, and we'll just talk about life, flat Earth, and other things that are going on in the world. Growing up, while I was a young guy, I did what most young people do. I ended up working in fast food. Worked at McDonald's for a little bit. Didn't really like that, so a few friends of mine were working at Sonic, so I got a job over there. Having a good old time, riding around on my roller skates, taking pictures, and having maybe too much fun on the clock. But that was cool. Out there with my buddy Raphael. We were friends since like third grade. We were in Gifted and Talented together. I was always a low maintenance guy. Didn't really have a whole lot of friends, like I said. So, I always kind of had some money laying around. Shortly after high school, I joined the Army and went to basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and did AIT at Fort Lee, Virginia, quartermaster school and all that. I was a unit supply specialist, went on later to become a supply sergeant. Skipping ahead now. But first duty station, pretty much the only duty station I had, was Fort Lewis, Washington, where I met up with a couple of guys, my buddy Jeff and my man Stilo. We would get dressed in the same clothes, go out on the weekends, take pictures, bump into random people, get them to pose with us, just going out having fun, doing what young men do. And we'd occasionally enjoy the occasional Smirnoff Ice. That was good times. That's what we did. We were just young guys doing what we do, having fun. We were so fresh and so clean out here, in our matching outfits. Actually, we used to ride around town blasting Outkast, So Fresh and So Clean. And when we would get to a red light, if that song was playing, and we would put it on repeat some of the times, we would get stuck at a red light, get out of the car, and start dancing, like in the middle of the road, just having fun, like young guys do. But, over time, eventually we would drift apart, kind of doing our own thing. And I found myself a little more isolated, I guess. I went from one unit to another. Being a kind of a loner naturally anyway, I found ways to stay out of trouble. So I turned to video games and staying at the barracks, shooting pool. Got pretty good at that. Didn't really get too excited about the video games. It was just a way of kind of pastime. Waiting for what? Not entirely sure, but that's what I did. While in Washington as a young soldier, I ended up going to this church in Lakewood, Greater Life. I played bass there, played drums from time to time. Not as skilled on the bass as say Jake Gibson or anything. I've seen that guy play. He has his own band and all that, so that's pretty cool. But I guess I'm alright. Hadn't played in quite some time, so I'm probably pretty rusty. I ended up playing backup for Karen Clark Sheard one time. That was pretty cool. Along the course of my mid-20s, I got involved in this online marketing business, and they had a training and development program attached to it. So it wasn't just a business, it was a business, and then you could learn leadership skills and how to deal with people along the way. And I met some pretty cool people doing that. There was an author, spiritual advisor of the group was Paul Sika. Really nice guy. I got a couple of his books. One of them got it autographed. And another great guy, multi-millionaire, really cool guy named Brad Duncan. One of the nicest guys that I've ever known of. He was a really seemingly genuine guy. Really cared about people. And went to his house to visit one time. It was, I say house, it was more like a mansion. It was a pretty cool experience, getting to stand around and listen to wisdom from this man, because he had been building this business for a long time. In that training organization, I also sat in a lot of seminars, leadership development meetings, and all that, different conferences. I even met Dr. John C. Maxwell. He's like a best-selling author, leadership guru, as it were. Written a lot of books, and I've read a lot of his books, read a lot of books on how to deal with people. I still got a pretty good library in my storage unit. Got some books up here in the van. But, I learned a lot about how to deal with people in that business. After, while I was in that business, while I was still in the Army, ultimately I got promoted to Sergeant E5. And, I got out after a while. After I got out of the Army, I had gotten married along the way, had a few kids. And, we ended up getting divorced. After the separation and all that, I was pretty much by myself. So I got into fitness, got really heavy into fitness, meditation, things like that. But, I was working out really consistently. And ended up, a lady talked me into doing these bodybuilding competitions. Now, as far as bodybuilding, I could never really keep the weight on to be like a certified bodybuilder guy, but I did a couple of competitions. I did all right, always made top 5, but typically that was because there were only like 4 or 5 people to compete with. But that was fun. But I really found my stride once I started doing men's physique competitions. So I did a local competition. That ended up pretty well. You know, I took first place men's physique, first place overall. Um, that was my first time, you know, winning first place in one of those things. So I was pretty excited about that. Went on to train to do NPC competitions, Northwest National Physique Committee. That's it, National Physique Committee, and did some competitions with that organization. Did the Southern Classic in Tacoma, men's physique. Won first place men's physique, first place overall in that competition. Then I did another competition that following week, and same result, first place in my category, and then first place overall. So I hit a pretty good stride there for a minute, and ended up going to nationals. Went out to Florida, and you know, just kind of jacked that whole thing up, because I got out there, I didn't know where the stores were. My diet was all messed up for a few days, so I kind of lost mass, and you know, was looking a little soft, and you know, I ended up not even placing in that one. So you know, I got distracted after that. Got really deep into conspiracy theories and all that along the way. Last year, you know, I got really into the political thing. Now, I'd already looked at flat earth a while ago. I've been a flat earther for over 2 years now. The story behind that is, you know, I was living with a girlfriend at the time. We've since broken up, but at the time, we didn't have cable, so we were watching YouTube to you know, get our information for the most part, or our entertainment, and had Netflix. So we had like binge watched conspiracy videos all over the place for months and months on end, and we had kind of got burned out on them, and ended up just wanting to unplug for a while. So we turned on Netflix, and we watched Netflix, a series called Under the Dome. We ended up watching Under the Dome, all 3 seasons of that. And then you know how you get that feeling, that empty feeling, once you finish binge watching a series. So we go on to YouTube and type in Under the Dome, and the first video that pops up shows a weird picture. It was the Earth, had this dome over it, looked like it was floating out in space, and it was a compilation of Mark Sargent's Flat Earth Clues. So we ended up watching that. You know, the first few minutes we had to pause it, look at each other like, what did he just say? Because we had never heard anything about flat earth. So, you know, that happened a couple years ago. We ended up watching that one video all weekend. So we would get to the end of this 2-hour video and then go right back to the beginning, trying to understand each point, because it all made sense the way that he laid it out. So from there, you know, fast forward to 2016, where I was doing competitions. I started making workout videos for my YouTube. There was a couple videos where I was doing some kind of philanthropy, as it were, random acts of kindness. I would buy apples and bananas and all that, and snack bars and bottles of water, and keep that stuff in my car, and I would give that to homeless people on the way home. And that was something that I was doing, and I just made a couple videos doing that. And you know, that brings us to about 2017. This is where everything kind of changed. Earlier this year, I was at work talking to some guys about flat earth, and I remember seeing a meme on Facebook. It talked about, you know, some things that wouldn't work necessarily on a spherical earth. You know, one was a gyroscope, periscope, from a submarine, periscope coming out of the water, radar, and a spirit level. So I went to Lowe's and bought a spirit level, and I'm talking to my guy at work, this dude Omar. I'm saying, Omar, this thing wouldn't work, because if you take the spirit level and it's level here in Tacoma, and then you drive down to Portland and it's level there, you know, that means it's flat. I didn't explain it all that well, and I just kind of left it alone for a couple of days. But I remembered thinking about an experiment that I'd like to do, like, I don't know, drive down to Portland from Tacoma, have the level, you know, with a bubble center and all that, and just drive for 2 hours. But, you know, I didn't think I'd have the memory on my camera, or, you know, have the space on my laptop to do a 2-hour video time lapse or whatever. So I canceled that one. But I remembered I had a flight coming up. I had to go to Georgia to go visit my daughter for her 10th birthday. And, you know, I had the idea, took the spirit level with me. I had already, you know, moved into the van because my girlfriend and I broke up. I slept in my car for 2 nights, my old car, and I had actually wrote about flat earth on the back of it. I have a paint marker that I use to draw on my vehicles, apparently. And I wrote something on the back along the lines of, the earth is flat, prove me wrong for $100, something like that. And you know, I had took that car, slept in it for 2 nights, and then went out to Seattle to buy the van. And you know, bought the van, and what happened after that? Yeah, the spirit level thing. So had the van, grabbed my spirit level, parked the van at the airport, and flew out to Georgia. So that whole weekend I was still hanging out and having fun, and, you know, watching cartoons and all that stuff. And I was still thinking about the experiment, like, how was I gonna put this together, you know? So I sent a message to my people on Facebook, on this Facebook group that I was part of and promoting at the time. And I asked them for the meme with all the spherical trigonometry. I called it curvature math at the time. And they sent me the meme. So I had my numbers, I had my spirit level, and I had my camera and my iPhone. And I was going to go do this experiment and make it happen. And I was going to prove that the earth is flat. So I took those things and just started recording, man. I got to the terminal at Savannah Airport, recorded the first part. I did the experiment already. I'd already set the level on the tray table on that short flight, and I watched the bubble centered, okay, the whole time. And so I already kind of proved it to myself between me explaining the experiment and walking through the airport. So I was already convinced. I already knew what was going to happen. So that's why in the spirit level video I said, what you're going to see is, this is what's going to happen, because I had already done it. So, you know, I did all the recording, did that video, added some music to it, got it uploaded, and didn't even consider trying to monetize the video. But I went back and tried that later. But I can't monetize that video because it's got Fly Like an Eagle by Seal on it. So, you know, it's too late. I haven't made a penny off of that video, and it's got like over 860 some views on it, I believe. 860,000 some views on it. And you know, I haven't made a dime off of that video, so I'm not doing it for the money. You know, so that video, I uploaded that, and after a few weeks it had got up to about 7,500 views, and I was okay with that at the time. But on one Friday when I was at work, I get a message from Mark Sargent on that video saying, hey, you made the news, man. So I was kind of shocked by that. So I click on the article, and IFL Science had written an article about that experiment, put my face on it, put my name on it, call me conspiracy theorist, whack job. You know, they posted some tweets from some people on Twitter and some other things, and just kind of try to discredit me with that. But what they did, they attached that video to that article, and in a short period of time, a lot of people shared that article, and it kind of went viral from there, because the title of the article was "Flat Earthers Video Goes Viral But Not in the Way He'd Hoped." But in actuality, I hadn't gone viral until they attached my video to that article, and that's what caused the video to go viral. So it went from 7,500 views in that one day to, by the time I went to bed, it was at 75,000 views. And I mean, the next day I'm like, holy crap, dude, because it got up to like 133,000 by the time I woke up, and it had just gotten out of control. So I had to make a video addressing that. So I had ordered a Flat Earth shirt a few weeks prior, and I had just gotten it in the mail, and I got it customized. I got a black shirt and a gray shirt, and I had the big old Flat Earth map on it, and I took it to the BNI and got it customized. And when that was the shirt that was the first time I wore that FE Offensive shirt, when I made the video titled "Dear IFL Science, Your Plan Backfired," because they planned on making Flat Earth look silly and kind of discrediting me. But for so many people who were calling me names, there were more people who were showing up saying, you know what, this experiment checks out. So that's kind of what happened there. Their plan totally backfired. So they gave me a platform from there, and I wasn't viral, but because of what they did, I was. And as a result of that first article, I've been written up in a few other places. I was in Metro CO UK or something like that. I was in Herbo, Hollywood Insider, just a few other magazines that I can't even remember. Just online, I was in worldtruthtv.net. They did a similar article. There was one by Flat Earth Jason. It was pretty cool. I like that one. It was why what Daryl Marble did is driving the scientific world bonkers. That was pretty cool. But I'm not going to say I had nothing to do with all that, but for the most part, I just made that video for a small group of people on Facebook. And I later learned from a guy that I work with that he attached that video to a thread on Reddit and asked them what they think about it. So it's kind of his fault. So, I didn't just come out of nowhere with the whole situation, but since that video went viral, they kind of gave me a platform and put more eyes on me. And from there, most of my videos have just been responding to people asking questions about Flat Earth, and calling me names and saying that this doesn't make sense, and hey, why don't you just look out of the window? So I made a video called "Just Look Out of the Window." Hey, what about this other thing? No, the nose wouldn't have to tilt. So I did another follow-up video explaining that part. And then people started asking me all kinds of questions about Flat Earth. So I start making videos to answer those frequently asked questions in my own special way. So that's, the way that I do these videos. I'll kind of want to talk and give you something to look at the same time. And I guess that resonates with people because I learn with hearing someone talking and seeing a picture or a video while they're talking. That's how I want to explain things, when I'm sitting down with someone face to face. So, all that has pretty much brought me to where I am now. There was the spirit level experiment rebuttals, and then there was, some other things. And, I've just been making videos pretty much every weekend about Flat Earth and other ideas, van life. I do those few and far between, but my focus is mostly Flat Earth. But, the way I make videos, I suppose it resonates with a lot of people. It's really, I take a really common sense approach to these things, and try to keep things really simple. And I guess that's worked out. So I didn't necessarily come out of nowhere. That's the story. Normal guy from Arkansas, came out of the Army, got a job, made some Flat Earth videos, kind of went viral, and months later, here we are. And all this happens like in the last 4 months or so, because January, February, March, April, end of April, May, yeah, last 4 months or so. It's been a pretty interesting ride, and I'm having a lot of fun. I've gotten to meet a lot of cool people, as you've seen in other videos maybe, and I just look forward to what's happening next. I'm getting an opportunity to meet a lot of people that I otherwise wouldn't have met if I just kind of, I don't know, kept to myself and not put myself out there. But now that I'm out there, I'm just going to continue doing what I do. So that's me in a nutshell. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sitting with me and listening to me ramble about myself. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everything. Thanks for reaching out. I appreciate your support. And, until next time, as always, be good to each other. Take care of yourself and stay flat. I'll see you in the next video. Or you'll see me as someone corrected me previously, but oh well. It's all good. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time.